Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2023 Bradley Prize winner, Nina Shea.
Good evening. First, I want to thank the Bradley Foundation for this immense honor, and it's an incredible privilege for me to join the co-winners tonight and in past years. I also want to say a shout out to my beloved husband, Adam Meyerson, who has been so supportive for 36 years. And our three wonderful sons who have joined us tonight, Tom, Will, and Henry. Thanks, fellas. During the Cold War, Nina Shea, a Jewish refusenik in the Soviet Gulag, tapped on his prison cell in Morse code, excited to tell other prisoners the news. President Reagan had called the Soviet Union an evil empire. Sharansky was elated, he later explained, because the leader of the free world made a frankly moral judgment, delegitimizing their oppressors. Sharansky and other prisoners of conscience were freed thanks largely to relentless American advocacy. Reagan said he viewed religious freedom as the Soviets' Achilles heel. Eventually, the empire fell without a shot fired due to Reagan's policy of peace through economic and military strength and public diplomacy that especially focused on religious freedom and, yes, delegitimized Soviet communism before the world. The US has been the indispensable nation in the defense of religious freedom. This is rooted in America's dedication to the right at home. The US recognizes certain unalienable rights endowed by our Creator, of which religious freedom is the very first guaranteed in our Constitution's Bill of Rights. It has been central to our history, traditions, and laws. Think of President George Washington's unequivocal promise to a Rhode Island synagogue in 1790. The United States gives to bigotry no sanction, to persecution no assistance. Revolutionary word still. Many countries today persecute their religious minorities. Our First Amendment's focus on limiting government power is part of American exceptionalism. It bars laws establishing religion and prohibiting its free exercise. Thus, unlike many places, the US does not license religion nor pick or choose among denominations. Religious freedom in America is not limited to worship or to holding beliefs in the secrecy of one's heart. Even North Korea does that. It includes manifesting religion in public. Religious charities run hospitals, schools, and much else. 30% of American charitable giving goes to religious organizations. Religious freedom also includes the rights to convert, criticize, and reject religion. We have the right to educate our children in our faith and morals. Religious objections to other government priorities can be accommodated, as seen in recent Supreme Court decisions for Catholic nuns and Sikh soldiers. Let me cite some examples abroad showing why America is seen as the shining city on a hill. If you're caught in North Korea praying, 3 generations of your family can be sent to labor camp. If caught with the Bible, you will be executed. In Iran, all women must wear Muslim headscarves in public under penalty of imprisonment or death. In January, Iran sent hitmen to Brooklyn to murder Masih Ali-Najad, a prominent critic of Iran's hijab law. Fortunately, the FBI thwarted them. In Nigeria, extremists have reportedly slaughtered over 5,000 Christians last year alone and attacked some 18,000 churches since 2009, largely with impunity. Severe persecutors don't share our fundamental values and aren't reliable allies. Secretary of State Pompeo designated China's persecution of Uyghur Muslims as genocide, and it opened the West's eyes to the mortal threat that the Chinese Communist Party poses to our values and security. China is the modern face of persecution. It is the greatest threat to religious freedom in the world today. It uses a dense web of regulations and sophisticated tactics. All religious groups are suspect and must register with the party, which controls houses of worship with high-tech surveillance cameras that feed into digitized social credit score systems and police computers. 1 million Muslims have been recently detained in re-education camps where women are forcibly sterilized. Falun Gong is officially targeted for eradication, and its practitioners are evidently killed to order for organ transplants. The FBI just arrested 2 Chinese agents who brazenly opened a police station in Manhattan to persecute Falun Gong here, according to the indictment. It is illegal in China to expose children to religion. Christian leaders must preach from the pulpit the teachings of President Xi Jinping. 8 Vatican-approved Catholic bishops are in black jails. It's indefinite detention without due process, subjected to re-education and Maoist struggle sessions that Bradley Prize winner Chen Guangcheng suffered. 2 Chinese Americans among the Protestant pastors imprisoned in Hong Kong, Cardinal Zen, and free speech hero Jimmy Lai faced possible life imprisonment. The innate search for truth and meaning impels religious followers, despite the risks, to resist a system based on lies. Their communities are among the last remnants of civil society as Beijing's control tightens. They need US advocacy, and this serves our national interest. But American commitment to religious freedom is eroding. The Supreme Court annually considers challenges to religious freedom, especially cases on accommodation and the wall of separation. And we're seeing a different kind of threat surface. First Amendment freedoms are being subordinated to new cultural preferences that lack national consensus. Private hate speech bans curb religious freedom and free speech. Even law schools are canceling traditional religious beliefs as fascist. Will we be following Europe? Finland is criminally prosecuting a Christian parliamentarian for tweeting a screenshot of the Bible. Here, a red flag appeared this year when an FBI office labeled Catholic Latin Mass supporters as suspected security threats because of their religious practices, and called for infiltrating their congregations. Though no crime was cited, FBI legal counsel approved this. So would the Chinese Communist Party. It was retracted after it leaked. And there are bigoted attacks against traditional religions that occur with virtual impunity. Since 2020, hundreds of pro-life centers and churches have been firebombed and vandalized, with only a small fraction prosecuted. The Attorney General acknowledged this before a Senate hearing recently. Prosecutions have also been scarce in Brooklyn, where Orthodox Jews in religious garb are regularly assaulted in their neighborhoods. This invokes some of modern history's worst persecutors, and it occurs as anti-Semitism soars with unprecedented shooting attacks against synagogues. We can no longer afford to take our own religious freedom for granted. The horrors of persecution abroad remind us why we must defend this unalienable right at home. Thank you very much.